Republic. And because of the nose of those trucks having a smaller cab further back, there really isn't much room at all. But Sasha Lenz, championship leader, looking very comfortable at the moment with all of the gadgets and wires and all sorts around them. There's an insane amount of technology in these trucks. A lot of them, of course, limited to 100 miles an hour for safety reasons and, of course, to keep it fair. He's got Jochen Hahn just in front of Stefan Faas there. And there's the number 17, the Brit, Shane Brereton, in the TOR truck racing machine. But there's your reigning champion just in front of us. Jochen Hahn currently sits 4th in the championship on 27 points. And when you compare that with Sasha Lenz's 40 points, it seems like he's a long way off. He's had one podium to his name at least this season. But both pole positions so far have gone the way of Norbert Kish, taking pole position at both of his home races. They come back into the pits after doing their first flying laps. This is sort of normal protocol for the trucks. They bring them in just to check everything's still working properly, make sure nothing needs doing. They'll give the truck a moment to cool down, and then they'll go and take it out for as fast a lap as possible. A very bright yellow and fluoro-orange helmet of Stefan Faas. One of his media members taking a picture there. Tyre pressure's being checked on Norbert Kish's truck. The number 41 machine. A very, very pretty machine. But look at that. You can see the angle that the wheels sit at there. When they really turn them in hard, the wheels, honestly, they look like the suspension has collapsed on the front when they turn the wheels in. But that's just to help them get as much contact as they can. Team members having a chat there with Norbert Kish. But he'll be happy at the moment knowing that he's on pole position, but there's not much of a margin between the two of them. Sasha Lenz, like I say, within 0.2 of a second. Everybody, actually, after Kish, Lenz and Hahn, was over 1.6 seconds back. Although Adam Lachko, who is also having his home races here, the Czech driver, goes into 4th place, 0.8 of a second down. But Norbert Kish gets ready to go back out then. Just over 10 minutes of the session left to go already. But we do have Super Pole as well after this session. So Super Pole will basically be for the drivers within the top 10. And there is Adam Lachko in the number 55 Bagheera Racing Freightliner. You can hear the fantastic noise of the turbochargers in these trucks. It was great to see these things in action for the first time. Admittedly, not the European Series trucks, but to see truck racing in action in person is a real experience. If you do get a chance to go and see any, wherever you are in the world, I do urge you to go and do it. It's just phenomenal to see these trucks being launched around racing circuits all over the world. These things weigh 5,300 kilos at least. That's the minimum weight. And over 3 tons of that needs measuring at the front wheel. I've just had word that Christina is back with somebody in the pit lane.
Waiting out because your time is already there?
Yeah, it's usually, this is how we do it, you know, that in the first time practice we don't do many laps, because we could destroy the tires very easily. So we save the tires for the Super Pole.
Thank you very much. He's saving the tires, as you might heard. That's great to hear. Back to you, Chess.
Yes, indeed. Just making sure that the tyres get a chance to cool down. Now, here is an interesting truck to keep an eye on this weekend. The number 86 machine. The Hungaroring was driven by Tom O'Rourke, but now Luke Garrett is behind the wheel this weekend in the number 86 MV commercial truck racing machine. Tom is busy with business, as a lot of these drivers are. A lot of them so connected to their own ventures and their own businesses outside of the racing. So I'm told that this truck will be shared this season. So it's another new name on the grid, which is great to have. We've got 17 trucks on the grid this weekend. I believe we had 15 at the Hungaroring with a planned 16, but Anthony Janiek, unfortunately, the French driver, not able to get there. You can see them now winding their way through turns 15 and 16. Then the right-hander, that's a 90-degree right-hander at turn 17, but they carry so much speed through there. And it's a double apex kink, essentially, through 18 and 19. And you can see the times on the left-hand side. Janiak just propping up the top 10 at the moment. Well, he was for just a moment, but no. He actually goes up into 6th position now, 1.2 seconds off. There's the very pretty number 86 machine. Now it'll confuse you because it's got a big number, or it did have a number 20 on the back of it. There was a 20th anniversary wreath painted onto the back of that truck, actually, which really confused me at the Hungaroring. But now they, of course, have the Smart Witness branding on there. Smart Witness powering all of the judges' decisions, or at least the stewards' decisions, if there are any racing incidents and so on. There's a lot of GPS tracking and cameras and all sorts in these trucks. Obviously, with them having a lot more real estate than your normal racing machines that you'll see, they can get a lot more technology in them and on them as such. But look at the way these things pick up. It's incredible. Nearly 1,200 brake horsepower. Absolutely nailing 5 tons out of the corners around here. And we head back down into the pit lane because Christina has found someone else to have a word with.
First round, the Autodrome Most. What was it like?
Yeah, most of the people know it's Most. It's one of my favorite circuits. So from this side, we are very happy in this time of the life to stay here and make races for the visitors.
So you have got a long straight start-finish line. Have you seen the visitors a bit there at the stands, as you might notice?
I don't understand the question.
Have you seen the fans?
Yeah, for sure, you can hear it. So this is why we make this sport, you know, to give emotion to the people. And when the people are there, it's also for us a different kind to make races, you know.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Best resume of the day already at the qualifying. This is why we do this, because of the emotions. Back to you, Chaz.
Fantastic stuff. And that's the thing, you know, the whole one truck family really is sticking up to its name. Everybody honestly enjoys this sport so much that is involved with it. There is so much passion here in the paddock with these guys. I absolutely love it, and it's a shame I can't be there in person, admittedly, but you know what, I will be very pleased for the first time that I can go out and visit this series in the flesh, because having seen these trucks or similar trucks racing in other series, I can tell you it'll be amazing to watch. Here's Antonio Albertetti in the number 23 machine, just having a bit of a moment there on the way into the hairpin at turn 10. Looks a little bit hesitant to get it turned in, but the thing is, you're slowing down 5 tons of racing machinery from very high speed very suddenly. It's not easy to get it right each time. He's from the T-Sport Burnout team, the Spanish driver, based over here in the UK. I've been following their ventures on social media, and I'll tell you one thing that's incredible about this series is the amount of spare parts. They almost have entire spare cabs to take with them to racing events. It really is a marvel to see it when you see them loading them up into the trucks and all sorts. It's incredible. Back on board with Stefan Fast then as he goes through turns 16 and now 17, and this is the double left kink at 18 and 19. Look at the speed pick up so suddenly. Lets the truck wash out wide to the right hand side, smooths the line out, and we go back to Christina in the pit lane.
Yeah, so we're talking currently on second position, Sascha Lenz. I'm going to translate this. Also, ihr seid gerade auf Position 2. Was erwartest du von der Superbowl?
Ja, ich versuche mein Bestmögliches und hoffe natürlich, dass wir in die erste Reihe kommen. Und eine Enttäuschung ist es nicht, wenn wir auch in der zweiten Reihe stehen, aber trotzdem versuche ich mein Bestes und hoffe, dass wir in die erste Reihe kommen.
So he's trying his very best, trying to achieve first row, of course, but he said if we might end up second, it would not be the worst case scenario. But he seems very confident in his truck.
Yeah, like you said earlier, Christina, you know, he's sort of taking a bit of a reserved approach to this. He's not pushing too hard and taking any risks, really, as Sascha Lenz. He knows exactly what he needs to do to be up there in the championship and to do well. And, of course, with 2 podiums, one of them being a win so far, he is doing everything right so far. 10 points clear of Norbert Kisch in the championship. As we see here, the number 22 machine of Lucas Hahn being driven through turn 10 on the exit. It really does still baffle me. The way these things accelerate is phenomenal to watch. But another one of the Team Hahn racing machines back out there this weekend. It's great to have, really great to have Lucas back with us in the championship. He got a podium in the Goodyear Cup last season, so he's got the potential to do very well indeed. Of course, pedigree with Jochen Hahn, multiple champion in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. You see the conditions, not exactly hot. It's not really heating up too much, to be honest with you. But the aforementioned Jochen Hahn is a 6-time European Truck Racing champion. He's looking to win his 7th title, do the maths, Chaz, this year. Great view of all the industrial estates and all sorts over there in the Czech Republic behind the circuit. Lucas Hahn goes for the line. He's currently 14th in the standings, and he does not improve his time, unfortunately. He was only 1/10 of a second off his best as well there. His best is a 2 minutes 4.8. He just did a 2 minutes 4.9. He currently stays 14th. Jamie Anderson has gone up into 11th position in the 33 machine. That puts him 3rd fastest in the Chrome category. Shane Brereton fastest in that at the moment from Teo Calve. Don't forget, as I said, it's almost like Pro and Am, those two categories. And in the Goodyear Cup, it is Shane Brereton that leads it with 40 points from Teo Calve on 36, and then Stefan Farsel on 35. So that's very close indeed, and one to keep an eye on this weekend. But there goes Lucas Hahn once again. He's ahead of Alia Koloc and Hans Clemens Hecker. Sorry, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, I believe, who was celebrating his birthday not too long ago. The FIA ETRC did a wonderful post on their social media for him. They really do appreciate all the drivers and teams as well. In just the short time I've been with the series and everybody involved, you really just get the idea that everyone knows everyone, and it's great. Really is great to see. As our cameras try and find somebody to pick up on. They do get quite spread out around this circuit, which helps them during qualifying. Means that they can get a lot of clean air. The pit exit is now closed, so nobody will be going back out on circuit to qualify. And the checkered flag is out, that'll be why. I thought there was at least another minute left. It certainly, time flies when you're having fun. But it looks to me like that is the end of the session for Lucas Hahn. He's not going to be doing a quicker lap. There's Andrei Kurzim, currently 8th at the moment. Janiak has now jumped up to 4th place, so he's really gone well in the end of the session. Andrei Kurzim was properly in the wars back at the Hungaroring. And there is the incredibly neon yellow machine of Anthony Janiak, the Lion Truck Racing machine. Fantastic stuff to see. And we have Steffi Halm in the pit lane now with Christina.
And yet, you said it. She's ranked 5th right now. Hello, good to see you again. In front of Adam Latsko after the qualifying, ahead of the Super Pole. He's the local hero, and I know we've seen lots of fighting between you at the Hungaroring. What do you expect from the Super Pole right now? Which time do you want to achieve?
Yeah, the first part of the qualifying was a little bit difficult because I have to take 2 laps. Antonio went in the first chicane a little bit straight, and then he stuck in front of me. So I need 2 laps, and you know, in the first part of the qualifying, the goal is just to get into the Super Pole. So for sure, I'm 100% sure that all the guys, especially Adam, didn't push too hard because the goal was just to get into the Super Pole. So I think we will get a different time from him in the quali which we have now. And yeah, I'm on 5th at the moment, and I hope I can stay in that area after the Super Pole.
Thank you very much. Good luck. Back to you, Chaz.
Okay, so then we have our top 10 formed up We'll be giving it a few minutes and then the trucks will go back out for the aforementioned Super Pole session that Steffi Halm was mentioning there. So, as you saw, Norbert Kish, the likes of Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, and Steffi Halm, of course, who we saw, and Adam Lachko, they all put in their fast laps. They knew it was probably enough to get into the top 10 by the end of the first qualifying session, meaning that they will go through to Super Pole. So, the top 10 is as follows. Norbert Kish goes fastest by just over 1/10 of a second from Sascha Lenz. Jochen Hahn is third, just under 2/10 off Kish's time. Then Anthony Janiak doing a great job up into fourth after originally being in 10th. Steffi Halm ended up in 5th place ahead of Adam Lachko. Antonio Alberthetti finishes in 7th. Andre Kurzim is 8th. And then Teo Calve, the only Chrome driver to get through from that session, was in 9th place. The timing is just refreshed, so I'm afraid I've just lost who was in 10th position. But we will see when they come back out on circuit in a few minutes. But as mentioned before, the fans are all out here. They are not deterred by the rain. That's a very, very big umbrella you've got there, sir. Might be more of a parasol, to be honest. But fantastic to see all the fans out here enjoying the racing once again. And as you heard Rolf Werner mention earlier, it's going back to the times before COVID. You know, we all have been saying for so long we can't wait for things to go back to normal as such, and we really can't. You know, it's definitely been a very, very different world in just 2021. There's been huge steps forward, of course, in vaccination and all sorts. We're not going to get into it too much, but things are certainly moving in the right direction, and it's great to see that the ETRC is embodying that as well, and everybody is trying to move forward together. But fans in the paddock is one of the main things that we have this weekend. Before now, fans have always been sort of kept separate from the paddock just to make sure there's no sort of cross-contamination or anything like that. But with the amount of people around the world now that are getting all of the right tests and vaccinations and things they need, it means that it's a much safer place to be. There's Jochen Hahn making his way down the pit lane behind Norbert Kish. Well, behind Sascha Lenz now, apparently, as well, as he comes down to line up behind Norbert. I think they will go down there in order of how they basically finished in the first qualifying session. Great to get this onboard view from Sascha Lenz. You can see right hand on the gear stick there, ready to get things underway. Now, the drivers have so much more visibility in these trucks, of course, than you would get in your normal sort of racing cars, which are kept as low down as possible. The cabs being so high in these things, they can see a lot more around them, so you get a lot more spatial awareness. There's a hell of a lot of close racing going on in this championship, and I mean, if you want examples of close racing, you need to go back and watch the battle that Christina mentioned there with Steffi Halm, where she was racing Adam Lachko at the end of their race at the Hungaro Ring. I think it was the end of race 4. It was absolutely incredible fun to watch. Really incredible fun. They were giving as good as they got, knocking 7 shades out of one another, but in the best of ways. And they both came out of it smiling, loving the racing, and being grateful to be there. But the rain is now coming down quite severely as well, actually, just in time for Super Pole. So while I was saying that the track is drying out, that is now a distant memory very suddenly, as we have wet conditions here in the northwest of the Czech Republic. And we hope you are having a good Saturday morning so far and continue to stick with us this weekend. As mentioned, we have this qualifying session and Super Pole. And then later on in the day, we will have race 1. And then, of course, race 2. We should be with you, as I check on here, about 3 o'clock local time. So about 5 to 2 in the UK for race 1. And look at the speed that these things are still going in the torrential rain. I think Norbert Kish knows that he needs to get out there as soon as possible and set a lap before the circuit gets any wetter. The race 2 broadcast, by the way, will be with you about 4:15 UK time, 5:15 local time in the Czech Republic. But you can see just how shiny the surface is getting already. Now, the steam that you see coming off the front wheels as well when these trucks really slow down and get hard on the brakes is actually water being sprayed on the brakes to cool them down. The drivers have control over cooling their own brakes while on the move. So not only are they actually steering the truck, hitting the brakes, and of course making sure that they change down to the right gears, they have to control the water being sprayed on the brakes as well. It's an incredible art form driving these trucks, but Different levels of standing water on different parts of the circuit right now is one of the main things to point out. Let's just hope none of them get caught out by it, as this is their first lap back out there in these changeable conditions. You can see the sky on the left-hand side there very much says rain, and the sky on the right says maybe not rain. But they're all filtering through turns 15 and 16 at the iconic bridge here at Most. And look, it almost still looks dry at this part of the circuit. This is the last couple of corners, turns 20 and 21. And Norbert Kish looks like he could just get his foot down and drive it as if it was a normal dry circuit. So it turns 10 to 15. And Christina has a weather update for us, I think.
Yes, indeed, I do have the weather update. As you can see here, it's not raining at all. This is very strange, because I heard you saying raining coming down a lot, but I don't need my rain jacket right now, but maybe some sunscreen.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. It's one of those circuits. It's quite a narrow, sort of long circuit. I mean, you can see now Norbert Kish kicking up a load of spray as he goes down towards turns 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then all of a sudden, when they get back on, it's like they're in a different country with the weather they've got right now. You can see a dry line sort of being pushed apart by the humongous tyres on these trucks. But yeah, it's a completely different weather dynamic altogether here. It's almost like the Nürburgring. They say that the Nürburgring has its own climate, but Sascha Lenz with, well, hopefully a good view through the lens right now, with all of the rain being smacked off the windscreen by the windscreen wiper. You can see him going up the gears out of the corners, doing a lot of this with just one hand on the wheel as well. These trucks have a lot of very powerful power steering. He's still got one hand on the wheel through there, making sure that he's in the right gear, of course. Oh, I think he's radioing in. Oh, he's gone off, actually. He's off the circuit, coming back on. That was a bit of a correct time to go and sit on board there with Sascha Lenz. I think he's just saying, "Yeah, I've done it, boys. I've made a bit of a mess. Sorry." And they have red flagged it. They have red flagged the session. Unsurprising as well. You wouldn't want it to catch anybody out and cause an incident. Maybe Sascha not the only driver there to radio in and say, "Yeah, we can't race in these conditions, guys. This is raining too much." But look at that there. They're not bothered. It's not raining at all where they are. Incredible. But again, as I mentioned, it's a very long, thin circuit geographically, so if it rains at one end of the circuit, it can very well be dry at the other side with no rain whatsoever. You can hear Sascha's team there communicating with him. And we've had trucks spinning at turn 13, which is apparently why we've got the red flag. Turn 13, the right-hand kink just after you get out of the section where it has been raining a lot, so unfortunately, we have had some drivers go off. But that Marshall doesn't need a rain jacket either. Incredible. So unfortunately, the first Super Pole session of the weekend then is curtailed short. Whether they will restart it, we will soon see. But the lap time's very much slower, of course, than they were in the first qualifying session. We had 2-minute 4s, sort of outside of the top 10, even shorter than that. But the fastest time set there was Norbert Kish with a 2:16. So a big, big change, of course, due to the weather. And I've been given some information. Thank you to Barbara, who sends me a hell of a lot of information behind the scenes here on the trucks and updates from the paddock and so on. She said that the Norbert Kish truck, the number 41 machine, has changed the front end of the truck, which basically features more and bigger air intake holes. But you can see that the truck is sort of more aggressive aerodynamically at the front. And Christina is back in the pit lane. Is it raining there yet?
Yeah, it's not really raining, but we do see the trucks coming in here in different weather conditions. Of course, look at the tire here. You may see this. One tire not looking quite in good shape of this truck. To be honest, I'd like to change. And let's save our cameraman and let's save our lives here. I need to step back. I hope you can hear me still. Yes, you do. So we're directly here on the grid, but of course we do not want to disturb all the teams right now. they're a bit in a mood because they are not quite sure what happened as well. Because as you can see here, it is not raining, but of course safety first, and this is quite good to see and to hear that all people from the ITRA as well are really concerned about the safety here. And as you can see, it is better to give a red flag.
Yeah, for sure, that's it. You know, you don't want these things going off. We saw just what happens when one of these trucks goes off and goes into a barrier at the Hungaro ring as well, and it can curtail a lot more of the weekend's racing. It's not just the fact that, you know, it'll cause a 5-minute delay or have sort of a tow truck getting a sort of like you would in normal racing, a tow truck getting a car out of a gravel trap. You know, it's a very different operation altogether when it's one of these trucks that goes off. There was damage, though, like you say, to the back of Anthony Janiek's truck there. The right rear looking like he clipped something. There are marshals out on the track, as we see here. They're in torrential rain, trying to clear anything they can off the circuit, debris-wise, any gravel. Now that looks like where we saw Sasha Lenz going off through the left-hander. You can see some sort of tracks and imprints in the grass. And the marshals are going to try and clear the water away. There's a lot of standing water there. And that is the damage to Janiek's truck. Look at that, it's shredded the wheel even. That's why it's destroyed the tyre as well. That'll be cutting into the rubber. He's definitely hit something there. Maybe even just bounced across the grass. Even if he spun off, these trucks have such soft suspension. You'll see them leaning in and out of corners. Even if he does have a big bounce on the grass, it could even just pop the wheel up into the bodywork, and then, of course, it's deformed the wheel. But I'd imagine he's hit something a bit more substantial there. And there are some of our... we're very grateful to have the marshals. At the end of the day, we can't go racing without them. But you can see there the sunshine in the background. But then torrential rain here at the circuit as they all try as hard as they can to clear water away into the grass to at least try and drain it away. But through there, it's not really where you want to have these sorts of conditions. That is the kink at turn 12 up to turn 13. That is the right-hander where reportedly some of them have gone off. And that is just after where the heaviest of the rain was at turn 10. Our camera that we're looking at, well, looking from here, is based at the inside of turn 10. And you can see the scale of the circuit. I mean, when you see the trucks out there, it looks like the track's very small, but you can see this is a very wide circuit indeed, as one of the circuit vehicles there just making their way on just to try and check what the surface is like. But an unfortunate delay for the session here, but as Christina alluded to, safety first. But it's great to be at this circuit. It's a circuit I've never... Well, I say to be at the circuit. I'm not there in person. I'm commentating remotely. But this is the first time I've commentated on action at this circuit. And it certainly does look like a real challenge indeed. Turns 1 and 2 used to be a lot more open and still a chicane, but a much shallower one. Now it's built to sort of slow vehicles down. It's a 90-degree right and then a good sort of 110-degree left-hander at turn 2. But it is one of those circuits that's a bit of an old school track that really flows from one corner to the next. And as I alluded to earlier, if you try and make a move down the inside of somebody, you could compromise not just them, but yourself as well. So if we do have any big battles going on through the field over the course of this weekend when we get racing, you will see that a lot of them tend to try and work together to move forward. Here's more damage. That is the front left of, is that Antonio Albertetti's truck, or is that even one of the Hahn machines? They're going to use, it's one of the Hahn machines, I've been told. That's one of man's best friends there, the zip tie. If you've not fixed it with zip ties or duct tape, you've not used enough zip ties or duct tape. But it just shows you not how flimsy the bodywork is on these trucks, but it's fiberglass mainly, so it's very, very light and very, very easy to sort of bend it into shape and do what you need to do with it. So that they're just puncturing holes in it just to put zip ties through to make sure that they can hold it in place again. It seems like very basic engineering, but honestly, it's the best way to do it, if you ask me. And it shows you, again, how strong fiberglass is if you can't hammer your way through it with a screwdriver. But it's the little details like this in motorsport that you don't often get to see. You know, you see these trucks when they're racing around and you see machinery of the highest level, and you don't often realise how many scuffs and scrapes and dents they have on them like this. But this is honestly part of normality in motorsport. Sometimes you have to fix it with some of the simplest solutions. And at the end of the day, if that body panel stays on, it stays on. But just don't get fiberglass in your fingers, because it is not nice. But the team's working furiously now, as you can see, to make sure that they can get that truck back out there. And water and dust and all sorts still being cleared away. Just to make sure that even if the drivers do run wide on a drying circuit, there's not too many marbles and loose surfaces out there for them to get caught out by. You can see there's still a lot of gravel there kicked up on the outside of turn 12. And again, that's a different thing for truck racing compared to a lot of other racing, is that these things are so big, they do kick up a lot more dust and gravel and all sorts onto the circuit when they do go off. Now that's one of the sort of intakes, or what the drivers use for aerodynamics, and of course for getting air into the front of the trucks there. In the bottom right, always looks like a socket where a headlight should be. But they use that to get air towards the front tyres, and of course to any sort of internal aerodynamics that these trucks have at the front. They also have these incredible rails inside the trucks which spray water onto the intercoolers to cool them down. As we see our marshals still brushing away furiously and trying to clear any water that they can. There were a few vehicles helping them out as well a minute or so ago. And apparently there was contact out there actually between Jochen Hahn and Anthony Janiek. So that's what Janiek was hit by, and that is of course why the damage is on the front left of Jochen Hahn's truck and the right rear of Anthony Janiek. So that makes sense. And Janiek has actually gone to the paddock from the pit lane to get repairs done, so he's not going to be going back out if the session starts immediately, unfortunately for him. As we see, there you go, I told you, zip ties, duct tape. If it doesn't fix it, you've not used enough. Unfortunately, covering up one of the sponsor stickers, but I think one of the main things is that the truck goes back out there right now. Whether it looks pretty or not is not the priority. But as you can see, fiberglass, while it does bend and move, it does crack. So you do need to be able to make sure you cover those cracks so it doesn't split under any of the load or any of the air flowing over it when the truck goes around. Again, hats off to the marshals, because they're staying out there in the horrible conditions to make sure the rain is cleared away. Although it does look like it is stopped raining quite quickly. Christina, have you still not got any rain down there yet?
No, still not any rain, but a lot of duct tape, as you can see. And you see that truck racing is a family business, of course. If you see in the back, Lucas Hahn there, the son, of course, of Jochen Hahn. And they were watching our live stream on YouTube, as you, the fans at home, to get a bit of a knowing what happened. And they're ready to go. And maybe we could talk to Lucas Hahn. Lucas! German? Auf Deutsch. Du hast gerade mal schön im Livestream nachgeschaut, oder? Bei uns auf YouTube. Was hast du gesehen? Yes, you watched our Livestream. What have you seen?
Also ich habe gesehen, dass die Strecke relativ trocken war. Wo ich draußen war, war die Strecke komplett trocken. Und auf einmal kam ein Regenschauer hinten in der Spitzkehre. Und das ist natürlich sehr gefährlich, wenn man kommt. Alles ist trocken, man stellt sich auf trocken ein und auf einmal ist alles nass. Da ist alle Achtung. Das kann echt schlimm ausgehen, aber ja, weitestgehend ist ja jetzt niemand was passiert oder so, aber das ist schon eine Sache für sich.
He's describing the dangerous situations for the drivers. He himself experienced it. Dry soil, and then you turn around, and in the next corner it is raining a lot and lots of moisture there on the track, and this is dangerous for the drivers. And he said luckily it happened worse. So what do you expect for the rest of the day? Was erwartet ihr denn heute von dem Rest des Tages dann unter diesen Bedingungen?
Wir sind alle sehr gespannt, ob das Wetter hält, ob es trocken bleibt. Wenn es trocken bleibt, wäre es optimal. Es wäre super für uns. Und jetzt schauen wir einfach, wie der Wetterverlauf ist. Und wenn es gut bleibt, dann haben wir alle gute Karten und hoffen, dass wir maximale Erfolge einfahren.
Okay, danke. Danke, gern. She's just keeping fingers crossed for good weather conditions today, and so he's hoping that we can continue this racing event as safe as possible, of course. So this is truck racing as well. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Thank you, Jochen Hahn and Lukas Hahn, the family members. And we see there, I think the duct tape road right now is stuck and everything is fine, and they might be closing the door again, and he's ready to race again, and that would be good news.
Yes, indeed. Fantastic to get that truck fixed in such quick time. As you saw for a moment there, we will be going back out on circuit at 12:15 local time. So great that the rain has subsided so quickly. And fingers crossed we can get a smooth sailing session back on track. At least, hopefully not sailing anyway, because it looked to me like they would have needed water skis or sails to get through the conditions that we had a few minutes ago. You can see the rain light blinking away there on the back of Adam Lachko's Bagheera Racing Freightliner. Adam Lachko, of course, having his home race here this weekend. So too is the team. 3 trucks in that team, of course. We have Adam Lachko, we have Teo Calve, and of course we have Elia Kolok. She's also a Czech driver as well, actually, so it's also her home race weekend. Only Teo Calve, not a sort of home driver in that team, being French. But Teo was very exciting at the Hungaro Ring a few weeks ago. Well, I'll say a few weeks ago. It feels like forever ago now, to be honest with you. It was a real shame we couldn't go racing at the Nürburgring, but as I've already spoken about, there were more important things afoot when that weekend was going on. So outbraking manoeuvres, let's talk about those. They're going to be the order of the day when it comes to the racing, because as Christina and Rolf briefly mentioned earlier on in the day, it's a long, long downhill straight here at Most. You can build up a lot of speed, and as long as you can get the truck stopped in time for the very tight chicane at turns 1 and 2, you should be able to outbrake your opponents and go down the inside. But it all depends on who defends what line, because as a lot of you will have seen as motorsport fans before, when you're going into a chicane, sometimes it's best to be on the outside on the way in, because when the track changes direction and you go the other way, it puts you on the inside. So if you do see people going for the outside at turn 1, it would be a wise move, because you suddenly go left again at turn 2, and then it's a long left-hander after you get through turn 3, all the way around turn 4. As we see Jochen Hahn there. Quite a plain helmet design, actually, compared to a lot of drivers that you see these days. Having watched a lot of karting and met a lot of drivers, you always see these very complicated helmet designs that, if I'm honest, are hard to tell apart these days. Long gone are the sort of mid-90s, even sort of late 80s days of having drivers where they just have a sort of solid colour helmet with maybe one stripe or one slight bit of a design on it, where you could easily tell who was who from a distance. But Jochen Hahn with the simple white and blue, part of it white, part of it blue, put your name on it, there you go, that'll do. Some drivers don't need the flamboyance, it seems, but Jochen is flamboyant in his own way. Of course, a 6-time champion, fantastic driver, an absolute marvel to watch. And great to see him in the pack as well, that's the thing. It's not like he's always running away with it and disappearing up the road. You know, he's in amongst the pack, fighting for points, making sure that he has those consistent scores. Look at the scenery here at Most, the humongous hills in the background with forests just blanketed over them. Great to have. And even the sun coming out as well. But there is the chicane as well. The secondary bridge on the left-hand side that you can see there is the 90-degree right and then the very tight left at the first couple of corners. And it shows you as well how quickly you come out of the pit lane and then suddenly get greeted with the inside line at that first corner. Now, you can see the honeycomb sort of cut out holes on the front of Norbert Kishi's truck there. We'll get another look at it in a moment, but you'll see that they are the improved sort of air holes on the front of the truck, hoping to help aerodynamics and of course cooling as well. I'm intrigued to see how that does for the rest of the season. There is Adam Lachko in the beautiful number 55 Freightliner, the Bergera racing machine. All the different drivers have their different coloured highlights in that team. All of the neon yellow parts you see there on Adam Lachko's truck are blue on Teo Calve's and orange on Alia Koloc's truck. A nice way, other than the numbers, for them to be identifiable by us as commentators. Steffi Halm just in front of Adam Lachko. There is Sasha Lenz, championship leader. Finished second in the earlier qualifying session. I think Sasha will be further towards the front of the queue as they try and organise everybody here. And there is Teo Calve, the young Frenchman. You can just see René Reiner in the background as well. Truck 77 has his name on the windscreen, which makes life a lot easier for me. You can just hear turbos whistling away as the trucks wait in the pit lane for things to get going. There is Teo, preparing to get his session underway once again. For the few laps that were put in last time round, he was 9th, unfortunately, but he is the only chrome driver in the field, which is basically the AM category. I say in the field, he's the only one in this session, as Adam Lachko seems to be just rolling backwards down the pit lane, which is intriguing to say the least, because it's a downhill section, so he's clearly got it in reverse. Although I'm told that the trucks must be fitted with an audible warning that sounds when the reverse gear is engaged, as it says in the regulations. So whether there is a slight sort of backwards downhill drop there, I'm not sure. Session gets back underway then. The timer has not been reset. That's one of the important things here. They only have 6 minutes to get this in, and it's about 2 minutes for a lap as well. So they will not have a lot of time to get their laps in right now. So you'll see these drivers giving it everything and trying to find a bit of clear space and making sure that they have room around them to do what they need to do. Sasha Lenz is going to go for pole position, of course, as they all are. Look at all of the buttons and switches and things he's pressing. Still a lot of standing water down there on the way through turns 6 and 7. And then 8 and 9. A very windy section of the circuit where drivers have to have their wits about them. Sasha Lenz kicks the back end out straight on into the gravel. That shows you how wet it is. Is he able to keep going even with the massive torque that these trucks have? Yes, he is. These trucks have some 5,000 Newton meters of torque, but even that wasn't enough for Sasha there. Kicks the back end out massively. Great save. But wow, that was a sketchy moment for him. And that's how careful they're going to have to be. But then again, you've got 1,200 brake horsepower under your right foot. So who can blame you for absolutely planting it? He's going to run slightly wide, obviously using what's known as a wet line. Here's another look at it. So he just boots it out of the right-hander. Maybe a bit of standing water, maybe a bit of water kicked up from the curb or something. He did clip the curb with the right front at least. And that just affected the rotation of the truck. He's still kicking the back end out, but look at it. It's like they're in a completely different country, like I said before. It's just so different. That's down through turns 15 and 16. That's only about 3 corners later from where we left him. And then all of a sudden, it's almost dry again. So there goes Norbert Kish through shot. Followed by, I believe, Jochen Hahn. Then Antonio Albertetti. Then it's Steffi Halm. Adam Lachko. Andrea Kurzim. We wait, there is Sasha Lenz going through. And then number 20, Teo Calve. So we will not see Anthony Janiak back out on track in this session. He's into the paddock getting the truck repaired, so he will start. Subject to all of the drivers in this session putting in a clean time, he should start about 10th. Just over 3 minutes to go then. Everybody piling down the straight into that first chicane. And then back out into the rain, or at least the standing water, as Antonio Albacetti's gone straight on, clips the grass, goes over the curb. He's overdone it, and he's going to go off again if he's not careful. Jochen Hahn in front of him doing a great job at staying on the circuit at least. Look at that there, using the wet line around the outside, not going to the apex on the inside of the corner as you normally would. Wet lines are very, very different in motorsport. It's all about carrying the speed around the outside of a corner and not shortening the line too much and risking over-rotating your vehicle. Jochen then powers back up the hill. He's going to have a smooth left kink now at turn 14. You can see a bit of damage on the right front of that truck, a bit of bodywork hanging away slightly. Now, of course, aerodynamics not the most important things on these trucks, so they don't have to worry about any sort of aero damage at all. It's more just about making sure that the air gets to the right points and still cools anything in the engine bay. The speed they carry there, though, through the kink at turns 18 and 19 is phenomenal. And that is turn 18 there with Lachko, then Halm, then Kurzim going through. We should get times on the board any second now. Norbert Kish is going to put his time on the board. And he does a 2 minutes 11.3. Jochen Hahn goes for the line. What can he do? 2 minutes 13.0. So he's 1.6 seconds off Albacete, 2.5 seconds off in third place. Who's next through? Adam Lachko goes second fastest, a 2 minutes 12.2, 0.8 of a second off Norbert Kish. Steffi Halm's had a bad lap. She's 8.2 seconds down. Kurzim goes up into 5th place. Albacete now goes up into 7th. He's 2.5 seconds off, so quite the spread. Sascha Lenz has gone second fastest with a 2:11.8. So Norbert Kish doing the job again, but now some of them will be on their final fast laps. There's a Jochen Hahn's overdone it. He's hit the bollard. Oh, Anthony Janiak is back out on track. Wow, they've done a great job to get that truck repaired in such a quick time. And with 45 seconds left of the session, he crossed the line, so he will be able to get another lap in at least. Jochen Hahn pushing hard now. He needs to make up that lost time through that right-hander, but I don't think it's as simple as that. It's easier for me to say. And Janiak's actually gone 4th fastest now, 1.5 seconds off. The speed that they're doing there from turn 14 down into 15 through the right-hander, running a little bit wide though was Jochen Hahn. As our camera spins all the way around to try and find somebody. Nearly fell off my chair. Back with Sascha Lenz then. Can he improve? It looks like he's a couple of tenths down on Norbert Kish on this lap through sectors 1 and 2. The amount of lock that he's using there, still just with one hand. It's incredible that they use one hand for so much of the lap. And the session has now ticked down to 0. Norbert Kish goes for the line. It's a 2:11.3 as his best. What does he do this time? It's a 2:09.6. Wow, brilliant lap by Norbert Kish. That puts him 2.1 seconds clear. What can Jochen Hahn do? Hahn goes second, 1.5 seconds slower. Albacete goes through 2 seconds slower. So it's Kish from Hahn from Albacete. Where is Sascha Lenz in all of this? He's 2.1 seconds down, 4th place at the moment. Improved lap from Steffi Halm puts her 6th. Andre Kurzim goes 7th. Sascha Lenz can only manage 3rd, 1.7 seconds off. So it's Kish and Hahn on the front row. Lenz and Albacete 3rd and 4th. Then Steffi Halm just missing out on beating Adam Lachko. And it's Kurzim. Janiak is 8th, but I think he might still get a time on the board yet. René Reiner has gone up to 9th place. And Theo Calve is 10th, nearly 4 seconds off. And Janiak goes 5th. Janiak beats Lachko, Halm and Kurzim. Goes up to 5th place. So that truck with big damage on the right rear after the session got red flagged earlier comes back out and puts in a brilliant, brilliant time. 2:11.7. He's only 0.08 of a second off Antonio Albacete as well. But that is your pole sitter confirmed. Norbert Kish takes his 3rd pole of the season. He's been fastest in every super pole session we've had this season so far. Fantastic dominance from the Reveche Racing team machine. He'll be over the moon with that. He called his first win at the Hungaroring a stepping stone. And I tell you what, if that was a stepping stone, I wouldn't like to ask him what 3 Super Pole sessions in a row is. Great stuff. Really great stuff. Jochen Hahn, though, returns to the front row. He wasn't on the front row at the Hungaroring. It was always Kish and Lenz. But now Hahn beating them to it. Lenz ends up 3rd ahead of Albacete. Then Janiek is 5th with Adam Lachko in 6th. So the hometown hero will have to do a lot from the 3rd row later on today if he wants to get a win in the books. Now the stream for the first race of the day will go live at 5 to 3 local time. That's 5 to 2 in the UK. So the drivers and teams have quite a while until then to get things fixed and get things sorted out. But incredible already, the local conditions showing us how quickly they can change one way and then the other. The sun back out now at the final corners here. Drying the circuit out nice and quickly. Of course, that'll help these support races as well between the trucks racing. But I believe Christina will be very excited to see them come back into the paddock. And hopefully be with us very, very soon. You can see the bollards being moved away from the curbs there. That just shows you how big those bollards are, though. See the marshal at the bottom of the shot? Just showing you how massive those bollards are. Nearly 6 feet. But compared to the massive trucks that we have going around here, they look like normal-sized bollards. And as mentioned, Christina is there in the paddock, ready to give us a little roundup on what's gone on.
Yes, we're driving around with a golf cart and we're trying to get a glimpse right now here of the paddock and all the team members going by feet. And we are literally on our way right now. We want to talk to Janiek, to be honest, because I think this is very interesting to get to know what happened exactly with his truck. We see now here Team Reves joining us on the right, some on scooters. This is Paddock Live, as you can see. So we keep you informed as soon as we got someone to talk.
Yeah, that's it. Paddock life indeed. If you've ever been in a motorsport paddock, you know how easy it is to nearly get run over by buggies and scooters and all sorts. It's certainly a place that keeps you on your toes. But there is the result. Norbert Kish takes pole position by 1.5 seconds from 6-time champion Jochen Hahn. If you're driving an MAN, though, it looks like you're going to have a good day. Sascha Lenz is 3rd, 1.7 seconds off. And then look at that. Antonio Albacete and Anthony Janiek just separated by 0.08 of a second. Adam Lachko is 6th, ahead of Steffi Helm, Andrei Kurzim, René Reinert, and Theo Calve rounds out your top 10 in that Super Pole session. Very, very close indeed, though, especially between the first couple. But Norbert Kish, in fairness, in contradiction to what I've just said, Norbert Kish, very, very strong up at the top, looking almost untouchable at the moment. As we see the trucks making their way back into the paddock now. A bit of a traffic jam for them, the natural habitat here in the UK for a truck. That is Sascha Lenz. 10 points are the difference between him and Norbert Kish in the championship. Adam Lachko sits 2nd between them. He's on 32 points. Norbert Kish on 30. Sascha Lenz on 40. So it's Sascha's to lose at the moment. But that is the very bright neon yellow number 66 of Anthony Janiek. It's hard to miss, to be honest.
Chaz, this is Christina. Just to give you quick information, we are on board, but this is a kind of a different on board, as you might have noticed. This is the golf cart on board, and we are driving in front of Janiak. This is this special view you get from us today. This is the paddock, and you can see the fans alongside. Great to have all of them back, lots of emotions, and everyone is taking out their smartphones to catch the glimpse of the trucks. And behind us, there's Janiak driving, and the truck from here, this perspective, seems in a condition that is all right. But as you said, there's some stripes. They fixed the door with that. So thanks to our driver, Andreas Ahn, who is a very good driver, I must say. So this is
I was wondering if it was Andreas driving, actually, because he messaged me earlier.
Yes, he is, absolutely, because I am busy enough with talking to you, to be honest. So, as you can see, all the trucks finding their positions. Beautiful shots right here, aren't they, Chaz?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And one of the best things about being in a paddock, especially when it's just rained as well, is the smell. It sounds really daft, and some people probably think I'm very strange, but honestly, the smell of a paddock when you're involved in motorsport, just there's not a lot that beats it. You get the smell of all the fuels, you get burning rubber as well. And to be honest, there's a certain smell called petrichor when a circuit and concrete has been dry for a while and then had rain on it as well. If you combine that all with motorsport, it's just a wonderful thing. I get overly excited about it sometimes, but if I'm honest with you, nothing beats being involved in a paddock. You can see the different scale of the awnings that they have here to keep these trucks out of the rain and keep them all under enough shelter. It's a lot bigger than you get for your normal sort of gazebos and things for other forms of motorsport, but everything is bigger and better in truck racing. It's just fantastic. But I believe Christina will have a word with Janiak when we get chance in a moment, because as we saw before, there was a lot of damage on that right rear of that truck. Jochen Hahn, of course, making contact with him during qualifying. Could have been anything, really. Could have just been a misunderstanding. Maybe he thought that Janiak was staying out of the way. Maybe Janiak didn't see him and moved across. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it often does, doesn't it? But there you can see the scale of the paddock. You can see all the fans in the grandstand behind as well. Shows you the great numbers, the fantastic turnout that we have this weekend. And as a sort of motorsport community, we are so pleased to have the fans back. And I was at a motorsport event a few weeks ago, actually, as a spectator rather than as a commentator. And it was just nice to be on what we call the civvy side of things, to just be there, buying my own ticket and just enjoying it as it is without having to work. It's incredible. As on board with Stefan Fast, you can see now the truck hidden away, or it feels hidden away from where we are right now. In their awning, the truck will be getting worked on and everything prepared for the two races that we have later on today. There's Jamie Anderson just opposite in the number 33 machine. Didn't see much of Jamie in qualifying. I think he qualified quite far, not too far outside the top 10 actually. He qualified in 12th position. So he'll be hoping to have a very strong performance in the first one to at least hope to get a good reverse grid position in race 2, because let's not forget that these drivers, once they've had their first race, for the second race, the grid gets partially reversed. There is the remaining damage on Anthony Janiak's truck. There's a piece of the wheel there seems to have been punctured by something. That's incredible. Not sure what could have gone through there, but the team not looking too impressed at the moment. Hopefully they can get any problems that causes sorted out for later. And there you can see again now the weather is very quickly changed again. Christina still staying out of the rain though, and is back down in the paddock.
Luckily not raining in this part of the track. It's so weird. One part it's dry soil, and the other part it is raining. And what happened to you in the truck, Anthony Janiak?
Today I'm very happy. The first lap in Superpole, 7 corner with Jochen, full aquaplaning and a big crash. My team full speed for the paddock and change the wheel. 3-4 minutes maximum. It's very happy. I'm very happy.
You seem a bit exhausted. I know your voice is not that good in this weekend, so tough conditions for you. No, not sorry. Thank you very much that you speak to us, really, to be honest. Can you describe what was new right now?
Thank you. My truck today, it's okay. For the condition is very, very difficult. The raining, no raining, I don't know.
What about the tires? I mean, you can't change in between 10 seconds, but how do you keep them dry?
My mechanics, super job. Today I hope a podium. I hope a podium, yes.
Okay. So you're aiming for the podium. Thank you very much. Relax a bit right now. As you see, there's lots to do and lots of compliments for the technical crew, of course. So thank you very much.
Yeah, indeed. It certainly looks like they were comfortable up in the cab, as I mentioned earlier on, but that is definitely not the case. These guys work very, very hard indeed. You have to really appreciate the scale and the weight of these machines. Very different to any other forms of motorsport that you tend to see. So we have a replay of the crash, apparently, so we will have a look and see exactly what happened. This is on board with Jochen Hahn. The two of them going straight on the grass, and that's where all of the gravel and all sorts got kicked up earlier on. And Anthony Janiak, there he is, arrives on the scene from the left-hand side, aquaplaning as well. Look at that, so many of them going off. So it was Anthony's truck spinning that really kicked up the grass, and of course Jochen as well. But that just shows you, even though, as I just mentioned there, the weight of these machines, they can still spin around and around and around. And here it is. He can't do anything about it and smacks into the side of Jochen's truck, almost going up the bank there as well. And the two of them managed to carry on. And he's very lucky indeed. I hate to say it, but he's very lucky that there wasn't still a truck coming around that corner there as he re-entered the circuit. They just about got away with that one there. And like you saw, the damage, it's all superficial on these trucks. There wasn't anything too severe. And it was all fixable by the time the session was over. But it can go just as badly wrong here as it can in any other form of motorsport. It's mad. Really, really mad indeed. But these guys wrestling around a lot. And as I was saying about Anthony Janiak there, you could tell that it was very tiring for him. They have to focus so much on making sure that they brake very early indeed. They cool the brakes and do all sorts as well. As you can see, some very, very different cars to what we've just been watching there. Some very different racing machinery out on track at the moment. But it's been a very intriguing and interesting qualifying and Super Pole broadcast. Norbert Kisch takes pole position for the third time out of 3 sessions so far this season, and he will start the first race of the day from pole alongside his sparring partner Jochen Hahn. It's going to be certainly an interesting race to see how those two get on. Can Jochen get his first win of the season? He didn't have the easiest of times at the Hungaroring. So it's going to be a long afternoon for the drivers and teams, especially if the conditions continue to do what they were doing before now. It looks like it may even be raining again right now down at the final corner. It's almost as if it sort of switches. The sunshine in the background and now rain at the final corner, whereas it was the opposite a bit earlier on. But it certainly makes this very difficult circuit even more difficult for the drivers. And of course, for the teams as well, trying to get their setups right. We're just trying to get Christina another interview in the paddock. But as you saw, the scale of the paddock is bigger than most others that you see because of the nature of these vehicles. So Christina will just be trying to get a word with some of the teams, maybe even some of the drivers as well. And yep, we actually have her now in the paddock. So there we go. We'll hand down to Christina.
We are already live, Norbert Kisch. What a race, in between sunshine, in between rain. But finally you came out as first. First description of the race for you.
Yeah, it was epic. I've been racing for 15 years, but I never raced on such circuit. There was so big contrast, to one part of the circuit and the other part of the circuit, because in the middle sector it was so wet that before the red flag I was on the grass as well, and I think probably others were on the grass as well. And then after it was a little bit better, but still very, very wet. But on the other side of the circuit, on this side of the circuit where we are now, it was completely dry. So it was very unique And it's not even, like the Nordschleife or whatever. It's most with, 3 kilometers or 4 kilometers of length for riding. So, but still, it was epic, and I'm really happy that we could do this and make the fastest time in such difficult conditions. But it was really fun.
And now you're ahead of race 1 in this weekend with these conditions. And our commentator Ches Drakor said, seems like 2 countries sometimes that you're racing in. What do you expect from race 1?
I don't know. To be honest, I hope it will be dry, because in the rain it's always very, very difficult and unexpected things can happen in the race. And I don't like unexpected things, So I hope it dries up. Which you never know. I mean, what's up with this weather? Johan, thank you. It's crazy, it's every hour it's dry and then raining again and dry and raining again, so you never know. But yeah, first position is important, and try to make a good start, stay in front and win the first race.
Thank you very much and good luck. And as you heard, it was epic. We're just at the qualifying, imagine that. So we see you soon on our live stream ahead of race 2. We will be back soon. Thank you, our commentators, Iwitz and Drakor. Thank you very much. You've got the option between English commentation and German commentation. So stay tuned with us in this epic battle at the Autodrome in Most.